What's going on, everybody? You know what time it is. What time it is? It is our midweek live at 5. So our midweek classes and devotions, we're just doing them virtually. So give everybody a couple minutes to jump in here and log on and all that fun stuff before we get started. So as you come on, don't forget, like always, click the like button and click the share button so we can make sure that all of our Hill Kids families get a chance to watch tonight's midweek live at 5 as we're, live and going right now. But if you can't and you're super busy tonight and you catch this later, that's okay too. We hope you enjoy it live or later in the evening. Just as long as you get to watch it, that's what matters, right? So don't see anybody's watching yet, so I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes. We're going to have a fun time tonight, continuing on with our gospel project like we always do. There's Elizabeth. What's up? Give her, like I said, we'll give some people a few minutes to straggle in, but continuing on with our gospel project, which all it does on Wednesday nights, right, we just walk through the Bible in chronological order. And so we just walk from the beginning to end. We walk through it and we learn all about different characters and their stories. And what we always do at the end is we always see how their stories tie back into the story of Jesus, right? Because the Bible is one big story about Jesus. We can find Jesus in every story. So we're going to have some fun doing that tonight with this guy's story and a guy maybe you've heard of or maybe you haven't heard of. He has a funny name, and we're going to talk about him and 2 cities that he dealt with. If you're coming in here, click like, click share, because we're about to get started with our midweek live at 5. And also, before we get started, don't forget, later on tonight, you'll have Pastor Tristan, and they'll be on, I believe, tonight at 7 o'clock. For their worship service, if I'm not mistaken. Pastor Blaylock will be on at 6:30 on the church page. So we've got all kinds of awesome stuff going on for midweek at 5 o'clock. So make sure you tune in here. There's Aunt Mott. Hey, Aunt Mott. Don't know if you're still watching, but hey. And there's Al. How are you, Al? Good to see you. All right, let's get started and let's talk for a minute. And for those who come in later, hopefully you can catch up. Okay, if you missed the beginning of our story here. So tonight, we're going to talk about a guy, and his name is Obadiah. Now, Obadiah is a book in the Old Testament, and it is only one chapter. So if you're like, oh, Obadiah, don't know, kind of sounds like a boring, it's only one chapter. It's like 2 pages. So you could totally read this book in like no time, like 10 minutes. So, and this entire story tonight comes from the book of Obadiah. It's what the whole book is about. So we're going to sum it up. Obadiah and 2 countries, or 2 cities, sorry, I guess I should say, or you could say countries. Judah, God's people lived in Judah, and Edom. And the people of Edom were some interesting characters, so we're going to talk about them. But first, I've got a question for you. Guys, because I think that this entire story tonight, we could sum it up with this phrase: you reap what you sow. How many of you guys out there have ever heard that? Have you heard the phrase, you reap what you sow? Yeah, probably when you do something and then maybe your parent looks at you and they're like, yep, you're going to reap what you sow. Or in other words, you're going to get what you give. That's a good way to say it. You reap what you sow, or you're going to get what you give, right? Because reaping just means to get out of what you've sowed or you've planted. So that's how we can sum this story up. But I have a couple questions for you. Let's go with this first. What am I holding in my hand right here? Turn around a little bit so you can, it's very obvious to see what I'm holding. They come in lots of different colors. Red is not my favorite, by the way. I actually like Granny Smith. So those, if you're just ever, in the mood to buy me some of these, Granny Smith are definitely the favorite. But I eat red ones too. All right, you've probably guessed by now, right? These are apples. Now, in order to get an apple tree, what am I going to have to plant? Tough question, right? Bringing out all the hard questions tonight. If I wanted an apple tree and some apples, I need to plant some apple seeds, right? That would make sense. If I wanted an apple, Got to plant apple seeds or grapes, as Seth says. So yeah, I actually have frozen grapes over there. I just didn't pull those out tonight. So, right, I couldn't plant oranges. Couldn't plant an orange seed and be like, oh, I bet my apple tree is going to look really good. Because if I plant orange seeds and start looking for an apple tree, I'm going to be very disappointed because they're not going to show up. Okay, so apples. Now, it's a little brown. We're getting there. So, I mean, but it's still pretty obvious what this guy is right here, right? What is this? It's a banana. Some of you probably are like grossing out right now because you hate bananas. And when I was your age, I hated them too. But I like bananas now. So especially if they're frozen and you chop them up and put them in your cereal. It's a big win. Very good. So not only are you getting a Bible story tonight, we're getting like food advice too. So, but I know some of you work off of a steady diet of chicken tenders and fries and ketchup. So this will probably never happen, but it's okay. So bananas, right? Now, if I wanted a banana and I wanted to grow some and a banana tree, what would I need to plant? That's right. The same thing for the apples. I would need to plant like some seeds for some bananas, right? I can't plant watermelon seeds and expect to walk outside and see a banana tree hanging out there and just walk up and pick my bananas off the tree. If I planted watermelons, right, I'm going to get exactly what I give. I'm going to reap what I sow. So if I plant bananas, I'm going to get a banana. If I plant an apple, I'm going to get apples, okay? So let's talk about this story for a minute and how you reap what you sow. We just used our fruits here to talk about that. So let's talk about the actual Bible story. Now, Obadiah, and I told you he had two cities he dealt with. Judah, where God's people lived, and you've got Edom, where the other guys live. So let's talk about these guys. Now, Judah and Edom were like brother cities. They were like brother cities. And you say, what does that mean? Well, they descended, or they came from two brothers. They came from some guys you've probably heard of, Jacob and Esau. You heard of those guys? Of course, right? We know all about Jacob and Esau. Now, one of these cities came from Jacob, and one came from Esau. Does anybody want to guess which city came from Jacob? I'll give you a guess. I'll give you a minute to type it in. Which city came from Jacob? Would it be Judah or Edom? Do you have any guesses? Which city descended from Jacob? Would it be Judah or would it be Edom? Because one came from Jacob and then one came from Esau. Seth says Jason and Seesaw. There you go. Exactly. All right. So while you're thinking that over, let me tell you. So the city of Judah, God's people, came from Jacob, and the city of Edom came from Esau. And the easy way to remember that, the cities, Judah from Jacob and Edom from Esau. It's easy. So they came from that way. Now, Judah was God's people. And if you know anything about our gospel project and walking through the Old Testament, let's see, God's people had a tendency to kind of mess up sometimes, right? And then God would punish them. But then, of course, God never stopped loving them. So then he would forgive them, and then everything would be okay again before they would probably mess up again. So God's people had messed up, Judah, and they had really messed up. And these people called the Babylonians had taken over Judah. But now let me tell you about Edom. These people in Edom were something else, guys, like crazy. They were just arrogant, and they were cocky, and they felt like they were just better than everybody else. Maybe you've met somebody, or maybe you have been somebody before who felt like they were better than everybody else, smarter than everybody. And now the people of Edom didn't worship God. They worshiped false gods and idols, and they lived in the mountains, and so they felt like they themselves, because they were just so awesome, and they felt like they're fake gods and the mountains would protect them. They didn't need God, and so they were going to be safe because the mountains and their fake gods and just they themselves, because they were so awesome, were going to be able to protect themselves. Now, I told you one day Judah was taken captive by the Babylonians. It was a pretty bad day. They showed up and they wrecked the whole city. Now, Edom was the brother city of Judah, right? And do you know what they did? While Judah was being attacked, Edom looked over and they were like, Oh, you see that? Judah's getting attacked, guys. Come look at this. You see that? They're being attacked. You know what? I hope that the whole city gets destroyed. I hope they don't have anything left. Just gets flattened. The Babylonians take everything, and they're left with absolutely nothing. That would be a great day. And somebody else was probably like, should we go help them? And they're like, of course we're not going to go help them. Are you kidding me? I hope they get destroyed. Because if this was us, nobody could beat us. I hope they just wipe those guys out. Edom watched the whole thing happen, and they're like, nah, we're not going to go help. Even worse, when the battle was over, they went over and they stole stuff from Judah. They stole it and brought it back. Now, as you can imagine, God was not happy with Edom. So he sent the prophet Obadiah to deliver a message to them. And this message was brought to Obadiah in a vision. And so Obadiah shows up, and it's like giving them a letter from God. And he's like, listen to what I've got to say here. This is from God. And so they open it up and peel it open, and they start reading, and you can see their eyes get really big, and they freak out, because here's what God sent Obadiah to tell them. He was like, just what you guys watched happen to Judah and you hoped happened to Judah, I'm going to do the same thing to you guys. And you thought that you couldn't be defeated, and you just thought you were the best. I'm going to show you that I can destroy you like this. He says, even the people who are your friends are going to steal from you. And even the people that like you right now are going to hate you. You are going to be the lowest of the low of all the countries. I'm going to flatten you and destroy you. And they're like, what? Are you kidding me? Yeah. So, God, you've got two cities here. You've got Judah, who had definitely messed up, right? And they had sinned, and so God was punishing them, and the Babylonians took over. But there's a difference between Judah and Edom. Judah was God's people, and he loved them, and he cared for them. And so even though they had messed up, he forgave them, and he gave them their homeland back. He gave Judah their land back, their city back, and it was a wonderful time. But the people of Edom, they weren't God's people. And God did exactly that. Their city was destroyed. He told them, he said, I'm going to get rid of you guys, and you guys are going to be like the lowest of the low. Everybody's going to forget about that you guys even exist, because you're going to reap what you sow. I'm going to give you what you wanted to happen to Judah over there. So you say, Pastor Austin, okay, we know the who in the story, right? Obadiah. And what were the two cities out there? You got Obadiah was the guy. And then we've got, right, Judah and Edom. So that's the who in this story. We know what happened, right? We just talked about what happened. But now we're at the end, and you say, Pastor Austin, okay, this is awesome, but like, what in the world can I learn from this? Because it's not every day that I see cities just get destroyed or anything, so I don't really know what I can take from this. Well, let me tell you, it's just like what we talked about with our fruit at the beginning of this, that you reap what you sow, or that you get what you give. You're going to reap what you sow, just like Edom did. They looked over at Judah and they said, they're getting attacked. Nah, we're not going to help them. Actually, we're not going to help them, and I hope they get destroyed. And what ended up happening to Edom? They got destroyed, and nobody was there to help them. Nobody helped them. They definitely got what they gave. They reaped what they sowed, and that's what the Bible tells us, that a man will reap what he sows. And so here's the thing for us, boys and girls, that we have to remember. If we want to get kindness, like, everybody wants people to be kind to them, right? I want people to be kind to me. Then I have to give kindness. I have to be kind to other people. If I want to receive love, like, how many of us out there don't want to be loved, right? If you say, no, Pastor Austin, I don't want to be loved, then we got another problem, because you're lying, okay? So we got to fix that, okay? Everybody wants to be loved. But if we don't give love, we're not going to receive love. How many of you out there want to have some awesome friends? Maybe you already have really awesome friends, but you just want to have the best friends in the world, and you want them to be nice to you all the time, and you guys to get along. You just want to be best friends, have some best friends. If you want best friends in your life, and you want people to actually want to be your friend and hang out with you, do you know what you have to be? Oh, that's right. You actually have to be a good friend, right? You have to be a friend to people if you want them to be your friend, right? So all of these things, if we want people to be kind to us, if we want people to love us and we want to receive love, if we want to have friends, we have to be a friend. We have to be kind. We have to love people. We have to give, and whatever we give, we will get in return, right? How could we be like, I want people to be kind to me, but I'm going to be rude to everybody I meet? Really? Would you expect somebody to be kind to you if you were rude to them? Of course not. Nobody would want to be kind to you if you were just rude and hateful. What about, no, of course, love? Would anybody really want to love you if you were just mean and had a bad attitude all the time? And when somebody tried to talk to you, you're just like, ugh, get out of here. I don't want to listen to you. You're crazy. Nobody's going to want, no. And nobody's going to want to be your friend if you're that way either, right? So we have to give kindness. We have to give love. We have to be the kind of friend that we would want to have, because the Bible says we reap what we sow. Remember, just like these fruits here. If I want a banana, I got to plant banana seeds. If I want an apple, I got to plant apple seeds. If I want people to be kind to me, I have to be kind. And if I want people to love me, then I need to love. And if I want to have good friends, well, then I need to be a good friend, right? And that's what we can learn from this story of Obadiah, Judah, and Edom. And like I said at the beginning, we take all of our Bible stories in the Gospel Project, and we can always find Jesus in this story. Now, Edom got what they deserved, right? They reaped what they sowed. They did. They got what they deserved. But you know who didn't get what they deserved? You and me. We didn't get what we deserved. You said, Pastor Austin, what are you talking about? Jesus came and took our punishment, right? He died on the cross for us to take the punishment that we deserved, and he took it on himself because he loves us. Just like Judah, God's people, they messed up in the story, but he forgave them. He didn't give them exactly what they deserved. And so you can always trust that Jesus will make things right. Jesus came to earth to die for us, to make things right, to do away with sin, and when we trust in him and believe in him, we can have eternal life. Jesus made this story right? It's not right for Edom to look over there and laugh when Judah's getting destroyed, and Judah couldn't do anything about it. But Judah didn't have to respond, and they didn't have to go beat them, go back to Edom and like, we're going to beat you guys up and we're going to take you over. They didn't even have to fight their battle. Jesus did it all for them. God worked the battle out for himself. And I think that's something important for us to remember too, right? Maybe somebody has just been mean to you and rude, and you feel like you've got to get back at them. You don't have to do that. Maybe somebody's hurt your feelings, and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to tell them what I think about them, or I'm going to do something that's going to hurt their feelings. Then they'll see how I feel. We don't have to do that, because Jesus will make everything right. He will. We are going to reap what we sow. Jesus makes it all right. And so that's how we can find Jesus in this story of Obadiah, Judah, and Edom. So maybe that's a story you guys haven't heard before, and you can read it in the book of Obadiah. Like I said, it's just one chapter, and that's the whole book. It's Obadiah's vision that God gave him about this. So I had a ton of fun jumping on here and talking about bananas and apples, and you reap what you sow, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. I see a couple people watching on here with me, so glad everybody tuned in here. Don't forget, even if you have to do it after the video, click like and share so all of our Hill Kids friends can check this out tonight. Don't forget, Family Trivia Night is tomorrow at 7, and we've done this 3 times, and we have had 3 different winners, y'all. 3 different winners. So week 1, let's see, the Rowell family won. They got them all right. Week 2, the Price family, and they won a tiebreaker over the Rowells. And then week 3, the Gatchus family won last week and got all the questions right and the tiebreaker. It was pretty cool, and they used their DoorDash gift card yesterday or 2 days ago on Chick-fil-A, so pretty good choice in my opinion. So make sure your family hops on with us tomorrow at 7 o'clock for Family Trivia Night. You can win dinner from DoorDash, and so you take care of dinner one night. Since you can't go anywhere, might as well let them bring dinner to you, right? That's what I'm thinking. So don't miss out on that tomorrow night. So glad you could hop on with us for just a few minutes this evening as we talked about our story, and you guys have a great rest of your evening.